Guys aren't from Pueblo, is that right? Alright, so guys, like Pueblo people, these are the people who I want to have the most amazing time tonight, right? Because as my homie brought up earlier today, I used to work at this really nice restaurant, the County Grill, along the Nature Center. And me, I'm a social butterfly. It was a cool place, you know, they have the river, and kids would raft down the river, and I go to the kids that were rafting like 17, 18 years old. I'm like, oh my God, did you guys just have like an amazing fucking time or what? And they were from Springs. They said, we lost our keys in the river. And it bothered me, because I was like, why can't anybody ever have a good story to tell about Pueblo, right? Like, you can't be like, dude, you know, guys came up from Ohio, and we went to a comedy show, there was like 12 people there, but it was really fucking fun. It's probably like, we went to Pueblo last week, and now Stephanie's pregnant, Joey's in a gang, and I think Johnny's on heroin. Like Pueblo, we're so fertile, even our joints are pregnant. Like this. I was talking to my friend the other day. My friend's my age, and I said, he's got 9 kids. I said, why you got so many kids, bro? He's like, we didn't have cable. But now he's got cable. He's got it now, but it's in his 6-year-old daughter Maria's name. I think he would have gotten his 12-year-old daughter's name. She had a $500 past due balance. Pueblo will fuck up your credit by the time you're 12, 13 years old. It'll fuck you up. But Pueblo, I love this city. You know, I've been here for a long time, and you know, have met some really amazing people. I think Pueblo's a great place, but we have some challenges. We got some problems right now. Like there are more people in possession of heroin than a driver's license in Pueblo. It's not really a joke. It's true, and you can tell. Like if you've been in Pueblo a long time and now you like go downtown and you see all these bike lanes and there's fucking bikes everywhere, and you can always tell who's riding their bikes for their health. You know, they got the shorts and shit, and whose license is revoked, right? Because I'm pushing the fucking bike and I have a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. I'm like, I'm not doing this for my health. I got 6 more months till they get my shit back. Because I got an interesting take. Like you know, I grew up in Pueblo and I'm white, but growing up in Pueblo made me like at least half Mexican. At least. And the interesting fact about it is like, alright, check this out. I have been in jail more times than the average black dude. I know you got to look around, there's not one here. I think there's like 3 in Pueblo, but like you would be okay with it because it's not racist. It's a statistic. I looked this up on the internet. The average black guy goes to jail like 10 times in their life. I'm working on 13, depending on how many of these I have. But no, being honest, like all the times I went to jail, the first time I went to jail was the most surprising. Matter of fact, it was downright shocking. I got my first cavity search ever. The shocking part was it was performed by this inmate named Paco. He didn't find anything, but we still talk. He poked me the other day on Facebook. It brought back a shitty memory or two. No, but to be honest with you guys, all the times I've been in jail, which is a lot, there's been a lot of times I've been in jail, but I've never actually been like, you know, raped or like even approached like that, you know, and I'm 39 years old. I'm kind of like, what the fuck's going on with me? You know, it's not like I want that, but I'd like to fight somebody. I'm like, you can't take it. We didn't want it. I went to Central High School, and if you went to the same high school, it's because of you and me that I have to tell this joke very slowly. Because it involves single-digit math, guys. Not an easy thing to do. The worst time I ever went to jail, the worst time. I went to jail this one time for 5 weeks, right? That ain't that long, but the situation was different, right? Because when I came out, my wife was pregnant. Went to the doctor said she was 4 to 6 weeks pregnant. I just got done doing 5 weeks. I said, which is it, doc? Is it 4 or is it 6? The timing makes a pretty big difference. I've been in jail for 5 weeks. As a DNA test would result, though, I am a father to 2 very beautiful baby girls. Can I get some love for that, y'all? One of them, we went sledding earlier today in the snow. This is my daughter over here. But, and I love when people clap at the fact that I made kids, because there's really not much of an accomplishment there on my end, right? Like, all that proves for me is that rice and ramen noodles aren't the only thing I make in under a minute. These beautiful babies, because I'm not like a very good dad. Like, I try, but I do dumb shit. Like, I remember when she was just a baby, and her mom was like, put the baby's diaper on. And I was like, I don't think that's going to fit me. I don't know, white people were some weird shit. I didn't fucking know. She said, get the baby a bottle. Tequila wasn't what she meant. She called me all at work one day, all excited. Oh my God, the baby just got her first tooth. So I'm like, great, then when she gets a job. But I want to be a good dad. I like it because this is when I noticed that I was becoming, a dad big person or something or another. Because when my daughter came home from the hospital as a newborn, she had a little bit of jaundice. Oh, you guys heard, the jaundice. Doc said she'll be just fine. Put a little bit of light on her, she said. I used the only light I had, my King LED grow lamp. Baby did just fine. She grew like a fucking weed that week. It was like 76 ounces in 1 week. The growth was phenomenal. No hormones. But my plant died, and that was the point. Is that priorities had taken place, and so I wanted to be a good dad. I grew up in Pueblo around a lot of my Mexican friends, and I grew up as a white boy, kind of understanding like what Raza and like Gente meant and shit like that. I could appreciate my homies for passing that heritage on to their kids. I wanted to do the same thing, but white people don't talk about, our history, but our, history and stuff so much. So, I didn't know anything about my heritage, right? So I did the little ancestry thing. You send them a vial of your blood and shit, and turned out I had a warrant for my arrest. Yeah. But when they let me out of jail, they put on the paperwork, they said I was Caucasian. And I was like, great, there's a place to start. I'm Caucasian. I didn't know anything about it. I fucking got on Google. And I Googled Caucasian. Yep, they showed me a bunch of Chinese dick pictures, guys. It made me feel great about myself. Pretty bad for the rest of Caucasian Nation. We're not having this heritage discussion anymore. I don't know what we are, sweetheart. Yeah, because, let me tell you guys, everybody thinks that, privilege or all this stuff goes across the board all the time, right? I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but if you think that white privilege exists all the time, you've never been white and had to buy drugs before. That shit's hard to do, right? It took me 2 hours to convince homie I wasn't a cop. And even then, he shorted me 2 grand and charged me an extra $10. So it's not always the same thing. Because let me tell you guys something. Everybody's got their favorite holiday. Some love Halloween. They love Christmas. Like me, I got my favorite holiday too, and it's February, Black History Month. If y'all were aware of that, because here's what I'm telling you why I love February, right? I totally partake in it. I'm involved in it. The whole month of February, you could fucking be late for every fucking thing, right? Dude, you're late to work. Your boss is like, why are you late to work? You're like, hey, boss, it's Black History Month. Your boss is gonna fucking laugh. Unless, of course, he's black. In which case, he's not there yet. It's February. Give the guy a break. So you got those instances. I tell you, so there, I try to look at comedy, through a real life lens, and then some of the stuff that I've been through, and some of the stuff I've maybe picked up or learned along the way. It was almost a decade ago when I was looking at my life and I just really unhappy with the trajectory of where it was going. Right, I turned 30 years old, not old, not far from it. You know what I mean? But I wasn't happy with where I was going with my life. Like for the last 6 years, I've been working at this pizza restaurant, and I'm sitting there talking to myself. I'm like, dude, I'm a 30-year-old fucking pizza boy. There's nothing worse than that. And then they fired me. that was worse, dude. We don't trust you to throw sauce and pepperonis on the motherfucker with a special kid in the back with a broom and pump. Get out of our restaurant. You know, but like I talk myself down, but there, you know, I wasn't just a pizza boy, right? Like I was a manager there. I know, and that was a problem too, because I look at myself, the people that I manage, I think to myself, how sorry is this fucking place if I'm the most qualified person you can find to cook the pizza? I mean, they send monkeys to outer space, and I'm the best one you can find to cook the fucking pizzas? I ain't gonna say where I worked at that time, but you dropped in. This guy figured out why it takes 45 minutes to get a pizza in that motherfucker. I used to be the reason that it took 45 minutes. Now there's a different dumbass that's a reason, you know, but see, like when working in restaurants, like, you know, there's a lot. Anybody here go to food service, anybody in restaurants, you know, servers, stuff like that? All right, well, when you work in restaurants, it's a very different kind of situation with a lot of different rules. And I'm going to tell you guys one really important rule that a lot of customers don't seem to know. You know, a lot of customers sometimes they'll want, hey, here's a tip for the cook, or here's this for that. But if you ever have a party at a restaurant and there is cake involved, you make good goddamn sure all the cooks in the back of the kitchen, they get a piece of cake left for them. You know, how many cooks you got back there? 5? Here's 5 slices of cake for the cooks in the back, because they don't get the 10 pounds usually. And so when we get cake, we're all fucking stoners. You know what I mean? We're all over that shit. So what happened was, I'm working at Dewdrop, and we had this like 18-year-old kid, because I guess that's what you're supposed to graduate, and he was graduating from high school. And he was a dishwasher there, but he had his graduation party at the restaurant, and he knew the rule, and he gave all the cooks a piece of cake. And it was the first time any of the cooks at Dewdrop Inn had ever ate graduation cake. I lost space cake, never know graduation cake. That was a new experience for us. But you know, so like, you know, but it was like a hard moment, because I had just turned 30. I was working this pizza restaurant for 6 years. That was my identity, and then I was fired. And I had to kind of like change my whole mindset, right? Because I was like, you know what? Like they fired me. I was like, fuck them. Like all my life I was lied to anyway. Growing up as a little boy, watching all those pornos, where the pizza boy always gets the cookies, right? I become a pizza boy. They're gonna fight my unemployment. I mean, they're ridiculous. So I did something, and this, again, this is true real life story, but I did something that I had done when I was 21 years old. I wanted to see if I still had it at 30. I decided to go ahead and jump on a fishing boat in Dutch Harbor, Alaska, going out into the Bering Sea. So I worked on the fishing boats in Alaska. And every fucking time I tell somebody this, they always ask the same question. I can see it burning in his head right there. He's like, oh my God, is he going to be on this guy? I'm like, no, because my only 15 seconds of fame really was that time I was on Daylight NBC Captain Predator. But no, I wasn't one of the perverts. No, that's not my. I was doing some voice work at the time, and so I was that voice that was like, I'll be right out. I'll be selling some cookies. Yeah. But being in Alaska, like it was a trip, because like I went from working as a pizza boy that nobody gave a fuck about, and now I'm in the Bering Sea working on a commercial fishing boat. And I'll tell you, I 100%. Yeah, I had brain. I'll get you that fucked up that whole joke. But anyway, one thing I knew about like being in Alaska and being a comedian, I really got to immerse myself into the culture and the stuff. Like I realized that humor is universal, right? Like if shit's funny, it's gonna be funny no matter where you go, how you do it. But certain jokes do have certain geographical locators, right? Like you know, in Alaska, their definition of a joke at that time was Sarah Taylor. Now this is Pueblo, so our definition of a joke is, of course, the Pueblo Police Department. In case any of y'all work there, I'm actually not supposed to be here as part of my probation. Let's just keep it cool. It's my deal. You know, I might not warrants, but you know, at least I found out my ethnicity that way. So, you know, there are good things and benefits of that. I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this on one more thing. We got 2 more comedians coming up for y'all here. And one of them is a local, might I say, favorite in more ways than one. So you definitely want to stick around for your headliner. Before I get off here, I'm going to talk about a little situation. See, I'm no longer married, and people aren't surprised. I'm going to tell you two things, because here, now that I'm not married, I realize I can become part of the dating world again, and that's different at late 30s. It's kind of like you're shopping at Ross, and something looks really good, but you know something's fucking wrong with it. Because it wouldn't fucking be a Ross. There wasn't something wrong with it, and so you got to it's kind of like this cool game, let's find out what's wrong with this one. But anyway, that's what they're usually thinking about me too. See, I notice I have a different approach than most men, right? I know because I had the advantage of being married for over a decade, and so I got to hear a lot of female girl talk, And so women, men, I'm gonna give y'all some advice. I choose you like you're happy. But men who are traveling or whatever you're trying to do, see, then they go up to a female and they promise her the whole world and deliver none, right? Oh my God, girl, I think they're gonna change your whole life. You're not gonna walk right for a week, It's gonna be the most amazing fucking thing ever. And you go 2 months and you're done, and she's just disappointed. Calling up all her friends oh my God, he said he was all this, he wasn't even any of that. Me, I have a different approach. And I'm telling you, this works. It's tried true. I've used it and it works. I greatly undersell myself. I say, this ain't going to be the most amazing experience of your life. It ain't going to be the worst. You have to throw that part in. But they're just not interested. But it ain't going to be the worst. It's going to be somewhere right there, subpar, right in the middle. And then when I go in and I do fucking okay, she's like, hey, that's better than I thought it was going to be. She's calling her friends are like, how was it? Oh my God, it was so much better than I thought. And her friends don't know that bar that she had set was so low. Now they're curious, and that helps. That's one reason I'm no longer married. The other reason I'm no longer married is because as I realized I started to get older, I started to lose confidence in certain areas, certain things that I wouldn't allow in my house. Right? It would start a fight right away. One of those things is whole cucumbers. None of y'all know why I don't let her. She knows why. She's about to cry right now. I threw away the cucumber one time. My wife flipped out. She said, who threw away the cucumber? I said, I did. It wasn't any good. She said, shit, speak for yourself. The best sex I had in 10 years. We were married for 10 years. So when I said, fuck it, she goes to the store, she brings back the cucumbers, I chop them up. I make them look like the little Caucasians that I seen on Google. Maybe feel better about myself. Hey, y'all, you been